The history of the port goes back as far as 600 BC, with the arrival of sailors from Phoca, a Greek city in Asia Minor. France's oldest city came into being following the union of one of their leaders, Protis, with Gyptis, princess of the Ligurian people already settled in the region, whose territory in ancient times stretched right along the Mediterranean coast. It is the original part of the town, where was celebrated the wedding of Gyptis and Protis, and the beginning of 26 centuries of the evolution of the town. A legend says that the Phocians went there for building the mythic, stayed velodrome. The city has always had to struggle to keep its port clean. However, in 1850, the Durance River water first reached the city via a new canal. This greatly improved sanitation by pouring 1,000 liters per second of fresh water into the harbor. The bombings of 1944 changed the features of the Vieux Port. Besides the town hall, all the houses were destroyed on order of Hitler himself, as he considered that the district of the Vieux Port was a thieves' den, a place of refuge for outlaws and anti-Nazis, a mass of criminals, underhumans and saboteurs. The district was locked by the SS. Its 20,000 inhabitants were expelled without having the time to collect any belongings, and the houses were destroyed and razed to the ground. The old port was replaced as the main port for trade by the Port de l'Algérie during the Second Empire, and now contains restaurants, offices, bars and hotels, and functions mostly as a private marina. The majority of the port and docks, which experienced decline in the 1970s after the oil crisis, have been recently redeveloped with funds from the European Union. It is 5 o'clock in the morning and Marseille it is still sleeping. Just some employees broom in front of their restaurants, arranging them for the hungered tourists that will come during the day. In 3 hours this way will come into blossom. How could you think about Marseille without its old harbour? It's like Paris without the Eiffel Tower or Brussels without the Atomium. The natural inlet, locally called a calanque, which the Phocaean navigators found so attractive as a harbour and built up to become one of the Mediterranean's major ports, has through the years become known as the Vieux Port, undisputed jewel in Marseille crown. Vieux Port is the touristic center of Marseille. It is the main marina of the city, being guarded by two huge forts. You will find lots of cafes and restaurants there and plenty of buses that leave from this place. It is a good starting point for walks to either one of the forts, around the old city, along the shopping street Cane by Air, or to the church Notre Dame de la Garde. This natural U-shaped harbor filled with an enormous amount of yachts is large enough only for small fishing and pleasure craft, not for the huge sea-going container ships, which use the much larger harbor just to the west. Though the traffic here is at its maximum and constantly noisy, you can't lose the spectacular fish market in the morning. Sold by the fishermen's wives, you can rarely see so fresh fish that you can buy it still alive. It would be a lovely setting in the summer months to sit out enjoying a drink or two. There are loads of hotels, restaurants and bars, as well as shopping options if you need. You can take cruises as well. Everything is central and within walking distances. Around the old port are the fortresses of St. Nicholas and St. Jean. They served a dual purpose, both to defend the port and to maintain control over the often restive civil population of this city. Large fortifications protect the narrow passage into the old harbor. The work on these impressive constructions was started by King René of Naples in 1447, and the work lasted for 6 years. The engineer Jean Pardo planned the defenses, and Jean Robert, the mason of Tarascon, carried out the work. You may take a walk on the defenses on the left side of the port by foot, but it is limited access to much of the fortress, as it still is a military area. Also along the old port are some fine examples of French architecture, such as l'Hôtel de Ville, the City Hall, the medieval churches, and Le Château de Faron, not open to the public. If you're hungry, you won't find better seafood than here. The local speciality is bouillabaisse, a delectable seafood soup. Early in the morning the streets of the port are empty. After the sunrise, the first move is made by the fishermen who prepare their goods to be sold. The specific smell of the fish invades the fresh air of the morning and wakes up all the people around the port who start their activities. One by one the boats start their journey to the wide sea and everything seems to move. It's like a gigantic being who wakes up after a long sleep. In Vieux Port everything is possible. Here may happen a lot of things that have no connection. You can buy local soap, or you can watch people dancing